Hey guys, going to do a quick little video here of how I refinish a watch crystal. This is the guy here. This is the crystal we're going to be working on. Try and focus in a little bit better. You can see how horrible it looks. We're going to go over to the USB microscopic camera here, and I'm going to show you exactly how bad it is. And there it is. Let's see. As you can see, this guy is pretty scratched up. So I'm going to use the proper PPE. We got our gloves. We're going to use 1200 paper. You don't always have to start this high, or this this grit. But with this watch being in this condition, I'm going to start with 1200. Sometimes even get down to 800. I'm going to go to, after 1200, I'm going to go to 1500. And then we're going to go to 2,000, finally 3,000. You can get all these guys at the Home Depot or Lowe's. 3,000 you might have a little bit of a harder time finding. You can find it at an automotive shop or online. Then I'm going to go to Meguiar's. You can use whatever compound you want. The 2.0 cut, diamond cut, and then I'm going to go to the ultra finishing. In between, I'm going to be cleaning it with Windex. You can use soap and water if you have it available, which I don't right here. And finally, a microfiber cloth for each one of those compounds. So with that being said, I'm going to get this camera set up on the tripod. Bear with me one sec. This is my humble little watch station. Okay, get this set up here. Okay, let's make sure we're at. All right. Okay, proper PPE. Put our PPE on. I reuse my gloves, that's why they look like that. Okay. Right. We're going to get this out of the way very carefully. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of Windex, put this in the palm of my hand like this, give it a little shot, take my 1200, give it that a little bit, get it nice and wet, and we're simply going to polish it. You don't want to use your fingers, you're going to end up with grooves in it. You want to use your palm as much as possible. I'm going to fold this over one more time. Okay. I like doing it in the same direction. Don't know if you absolutely have to. If you use your fingers, you can go like this way. A little bit more juice. That way. Get the edges. I do go around the edges this way. You want to make sure you keep that paper nice and wet. You can actually see some of the material coming off on the sandpaper. Now find my lines. Okay, back this way again. Now this is a domed crystal, so I am going off the edges. If you have a straight, flat crystal, it's much easier. Okay, one more time. Okay, so that was with the 1200. We're going to rinse it off. Now you only want to use the paper towel for drying it off in between. Once you get down to the compound, you definitely don't want to use the paper towel because it will scratch the crystal. Okay. So when it looks even foggier than you started with, don't get upset. I don't know if you can see that, because that is going to get better. So now we're going to move on to the 1500. try and follow those same lines. So some crystals fit nice and will stay put in your palm. This particular one doesn't want to, so I'm going to hold it like this. Get this side, and get this side. Put a bit more juice on there. You can see the background there. I think you can see it. My Lassonde. I overhauled that. Found that in my father's basement. My father liked to collect a lot of stuff, and there was a couple watches in there that were really cool. It's not the most expensive watch, but overhauled it. This the second one I worked on. The first one I had some problems with, which is the Sheffield, which I'm still working on. Waiting for a part, waiting for a bridge because I had a stripped out thread on it. But I absolutely love that little watch. You wear that thing, you don't even know it's on your wrist. I like the flex band. I just like everything about it. I like the vintage watches. Okay. Alright, we're going to dry it off. Whoops. Dry it off. You don't want to dry it in the same spot in case you have any grit left over from the previous sandpaper. Okay, as you can see, I don't know if you can see that or not, it's a little better. It's getting there. So as we go up in grit, we're gently removing the scratches from the previous grit and getting rid of all those scuffs and scratches that were previously on there from wear and tear. Now we're going to do this one. Around, one more juice. You can see it's still drying, but you can see we're getting a little better each time. Now we're going to move on to the 2000. I'll make sure there's nothing on your paper. No, it's just cutting the paper. So as you can see, there's some suds from the Windex, but there's also some material coming off, just the very smallest amount of material. A little bit more juice. Okay, we'll clean that off. Okay, we'll change paper towels. Okay, as you can see, we're starting to be able to see through it a little bit. So if you're doing this on your own on your first time, don't get nervous. The scratches will come out. So hey, just a little intermission. There's a little lighter I found in a box. Old automotive place in Philadelphia. I don't know if there's enough. Hey, look at that. There you go. I just restored that. The flint was literally in there like concrete. So that was a nice little restore there. And it comes apart. Anyway. Alright, back to the watch crystal. So now we're going to move on to the 3000. Give it a little bit of juice. Okay. This 3000 is super fine, but I don't have any, but I believe these papers go up to 6,000, maybe even a little bit more. So in the future I might get some, but these actually come out pretty well, especially with that McGuire's compound. And this has a little bit of a sponge to it, so it holds the Windex in it. Okay. Do the edges. Okay. Clean it. And I just dab the inside so I'm not scratching the inside of the crystal. Okay. Getting better. I'm waiting the Windex to go away. Getting better, but still, whoops, there it is, still foggy. Okay, so, alright, we're done. How's it look? Not just kidding. Alright, moving on. We're going to move on to the McGuire's. I'm going to shake it up. You don't want to use the same microfiber cloth for these, because you don't want to contaminate. So put a little bit on. Got a little bit of rough stuff coming out of there. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. Now this here, you can put in the palm of your hand like that and polish that up. And I go in a circular motion here, keeping it wet. I try not to get any on the inside. It's not possible to not do that. Oops, like that. Alright, do as I say, not as I do. We're going to wash that off real good with Windex. Okay. Alright, looking pretty good, right? Getting there. Oh, you can see how any better. Okay. There's still a couple of little scratches in there. You know, if they're too bad, you can always just go ahead and buy yourself a new crystal. You can get on Esslinger for like, I don't know, $7 for this style. If you want to go with a sapphire, they're more like, you know, 50 and up. So let's move on to the final finishing. Again, don't be shy when putting it on there. You want to make sure it's nice and wet. That's probably a little too wet, but it'll be fine. Then, so to the naked eye, this will look pretty good. We're going to put it on the microscope afterwards just to make sure and see. It might need a little bit more work, but you get the general idea. And these are all products that you can find at home. Obviously the Windex, the compound, not everybody has that, but that can be bought in an automotive store. Okay, get a dry spot, and I had way too much. So that final is not a problem if you polish that off on the inside. Okay. Oops, one more little spot. There's a couple of spots that I might touch up, but for the most part she's finished. So Enjoy.